call recall. For the memory of your ideal vacation.
You were interested in a memory of,
Mars.
You're gonna love this, Doug.
Yeah, but how real does it seem?
As real as any memory in your head. You are on your most important mission.
Do you want to know the future?
What about the past?
You are not you. You're me.
They erased your identity and implanted a new one.
Watto wants what's in Quaid's head.
You're Quato, right?
Wrong. If I'm not me, who the hell am I?
You wouldn't hurt me. We're married.
Consider that a divorce.
You got a lot of nerve showing your face around here.
Look who's talking. My name is not Quaid.
In an hour, he could have total recall.
I want Quaid delivered for reimplantation.
Catch!
Get ready for a surprise!
Kill them all!
You think this is the real Quaid? It is.
We hope you enjoyed the ride.
Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and get your ass to Mars. Joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margot D. Hello, my friend.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. That's by Arnold.
It's really good, and
Thank you.
I almost picked 2 weeks as my intro as well, so that would have been
For justice for the actress. Is her name Priscilla Davis or
Priscilla Allen, who is listed as like fat lady. And I was like, unacceptable.
No, my friend Margot,
mm-hmm.
she and her husband are from San Diego, and she was a big time acting teacher there, and they both knew her very well.
Well,
and
that's awesome.
She said she was super, super tall, like a big lady.
Yeah, she looks tall in this. She looks tall. We are dorking out about 1990s Total Recall, not the one with Colin Farrell from like 2012. Like somebody asked that, and honestly,
I think it was Tony.
Yeah, and I was like, "Hey, what?" Like, oh yes, that is a thing that exists. Like, no, not that one. I haven't even seen that one. So, if you're looking for thoughts about that one,
you like Colin Farrell?
I love Colin Farrell. He's handsome. He's very handsome. And a good actor. This is the one that stars Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sharon Stone, Rachel Ticotin. Schwarzenegger. And Ronnie Cox, Michael Ironside. It's directed by Paul Verhoeven, and it's loosely based on a Philip K. Dick story. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You could do this for book versus movie.
We did do this for book versus movie. That's why I know Margot's connection.
There you go. Let's start. By the way, this movie came out in 90, and it made so much fucking money. Like, the budget was like they said maybe 80 million, and it made over 250 million. That was a shit ton of money back in the day.
It was a big movie.
It was a very big summer movie. Did you see it in the theater?
I'm pretty sure I did, but I don't remember. 1990 is a wonky year from my memory.
Yes. I saw I was still working at the movie theater then, so I saw everything, but I definitely saw it in the theater, and I remember being like really, really impressed with the visual effects when I saw it. Like, it was the shit at the time.
At the time.
There's definitely some stuff now where I'm like, not so good, but I do appreciate practical effects, which this one has. So
yes,
I appreciate that. Let's just go through it, shall we?
This plot.
Yeah, the plot, which I'm going to be honest, not sure it really makes that much sense to me, but that's fine because I'm along for the ride and I let it go. So Arnold Schwarzenegger plays this guy named Douglas Quaid, and he like keeps dreaming about Mars, and there's like this brunette woman in the dream, and he keeps having these, I guess they're dreams or nightmares, whatever. And he keeps waking up, and he's married to sexy Sharon Stone, like pre-Basic Instinct Sharon Stone. She's beautiful. Like, I mean, she's beautiful,
hot.
but she's smoking hot in this movie. And she's like, I don't want to move to Mars. This is gross, whatever. And he's just kind of obsessed with going to Mars. So, by the way, did I mention this is set in the future? Obviously, this is set in the
It's set 60 years in the future. There's no internet. And they still have paper passports.
It's so weird. Yeah, there's all these things that are futuristic, but then, yes, the paper passports, they still use guns. Like, guns are still, like, the number one weapon. Knives and swords and all kinds of, it's fine, whatever. So he really wants to go to Mars, where there is like a colony up there, but she's like, nah, we're not doing that. So he goes to this place called Recall. Get it? And it's REKALL, and their whole thing is they implant false memories in your brain, so you think you went to Mars, but you haven't. And he goes to Recall. There's this really cool scene where the woman's changing her nail polish with like the click of a pen. And I was like, I would like that. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That would be delightful. Where's that? I'll take, that's the future I want. So before they can, he picks the plan with like, he wants to be a secret agent, and, and he gets to pick like a woman to like pal around with in his dream, and I love it. He picks like a brunette who's athletic and sleazy. I'm like, they're like, be honest, you'll have more fun. And he's sleazy. And they are getting ready to put the memory in, and he freaks out, and they haven't. It's a really good Arnold impression.
Thank you.
You've been practicing.
My cat is like staring at me like startled right now. So what the fuck is wrong with you?
They don't even get to implanting it before he freaks out, and they realize that his memory has already been wiped once before. And that's what kind of kicks everything into gear from there. They dump him in one of these like driverless cars, which we have now. But they're called Johnny Cabs in the movie. But they have like a creepy looking robot mannequin thing that's like, the ones you get in now don't have that sort of thing. But, and I think I posted a video where it just, the slightest little tap and these things explode, like those, like a Tesla, actually, like those self-driving Teslas.
I was going to say, it's a little Musk that's driving around. That's just
exactly.
What I pictured.
I'm all, that future, also accurate, it turns out. So he runs into like some coworkers, and like it turns out this coworker is from some sort of agency, and all these other dudes, and they try to murder Arnold. And here's the thing about like early Arnold movies. He's no everyman. He's Arnold fucking Schwarzenegger, and like he just fully murders these dudes. Like he just breaks their necks like it's nothing. He's like, oh, like just instantly. And he goes home to Sharon Stone, and she's very sweet at first. And then, like on a dime, is just trying to kill him because she is also a secret agent.
She's a secret agent. So this whole thing is that, and it's an idea from the Dick story, is that, you know, you can take a vacation from your life and it doesn't count as cheating. It doesn't count as anything. And also, like, if you're disabled, you could like go on this vacation and have this vacation where you're a marathon runner or whatever. And so the idea is like, that's really, to anybody that would sound exciting. Like, just to anything that you want. That's the whole thing. That's what they're trying to keep going. But in this movie, of course, you know, everybody is going and say all the people that are in charge are assholes, and they just kill people to solve problems like in a second.
Yeah, the amount of innocent bystanders that get killed in this movie is pretty high. I'll say a lot of folks just get killed for existing. for just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Let's go back to the vacation thing. I wanted to ask you, would you do this? Would you
In a second.
Really?
I'm sorry. Yeah. Are you kidding?
Oh no, see, I'm afraid. I don't want to fuck with my brain.
Yeah, I want to like rob a bank. I want to be like Fantasy Island. I want to like go to a Doors concert and then take off with Jim Morrison and rob a bank. And like, I got the whole thing planned out. I just don't want any consequences.
Valid.
So yeah.
That's interesting. See, you're not looking to go into the future or even like an adventure in the present. You want to go to the past.
I do, and it's like not to like kill Hitler or anything useful. I want to like see the Carrie musical on Broadway.
Look, I'm not looking to make the world a better place.
I seriously, I just realized like I have no philanthropic ideas. They're just like, oh, what would be fun to do? Like we could rob a bank in the 70s. People did that all the time and didn't get caught.
Yeah, why not? Cool. I want to go back in time and see the Naked Gun again for the first time.
I don't want to watch E.T. again and cry my eyes out. I want to just, that's where my brain goes.
I love
that's
that.
That's what I think of. Yeah, I'm like, I'm going to go to a beach.
Going on an adventure to Mars? Meh.
No.
Boring. Actually, that sounds too much like camping, and I'm going to hard pass. I don't want that. So, yes. Oh, so we're back to like, so Sharon Stone is like, she's pretty quick to like tell him like, look, I was assigned to watch you. Your memory's been a waste. Their marriage is not real. Like everything is a memory. She's been with him for like 6 weeks, but she's like, you're the best assignment I ever had. Like, she's still trying to we think she's trying to get a little bit more action from him before he splits. But the truth is she's just stalling him because the bad guys are showing up, including Michael Ironside.
We should say there's some misogyny in this movie.
Yeah.
There's a scene where when they're getting the implant thing, the idea, there's a woman and she's saying like, hey, he's freaking out. And this guy comes over, you stupid bitch. Like, what's going on? Like, what? Like, it's so...
They're in like what is the equivalent of like a dentist office, basically. Yes. And she's basically a hygienist or something. I don't know. Anyway, like for the doctor to go from 0 to you stupid bitch in like 5 seconds is pretty.
And he's got somebody in the office that he's trying to sell something to.
Yes.
I'm like, yeah, she takes off right away. And then Sharon Stone, like Arnold punches her in the face and knocks her out.
Yes.
I mean, yes, she's the bad guy, but there's a few things here. You're like, wow. There's a bar where a woman has, right, Max? There's a bar where a woman has 3 boobs, and like that's.
I can't even tell. Like when this movie came out, you would think that it didn't have anything else in the movie other than a woman with 3 tits. Like that's all. Like because again, I worked at the movie theater, and I'm just surrounded by dudes who are like, "There's a woman in it with 3 tits," and I'm like, "Oh my god!" There's like so many other like rad visual effects in this movie, and that's all they could talk about. And then when I read this, when the remake was coming out, again, people were like, I hope the woman with the 3 tits. I'm like, she's not real, right? Like this.
She wore the actress. I remember this from when I talked about my other show. She had to wear, that she doesn't have 3 boobs. I mean, she had to have
what?
So it's like something that's built to her chest, to her body, and she had to kind of keep it on all the time. So she wore like a cape or something to like. And she says everyone just treated her like trash.
That's awful.
Which happens on sets. Like if you play a sex worker, people just will treat you.
Yeah.
Right. And she said that's like, she said it wasn't fun.
No, I believe her. Like,
yeah.
Again, like it's not all the effects in this movie and people were just, 3 boobs. Like, grow up, dudes. Grow up. So Michael Ironside shows up, and him and his like goons are chasing Arnold around. Apparently he's married to the Sharon Stone character, or they're just boyfriend, girlfriend. I don't know, but whatever. So he wants to kill Arnold super bad because his lady has been sleeping with Arnold. on top of everything else.
But they're both double agents. So they're supposed to understand it. And his friend like teases him about it.
Yeah.
Like, no, she's really enjoying it.
Look, Michael Ironside and Arnold Schwarzenegger are two very different types of dudes. I'm sure she probably did enjoy it. Like,
yeah,
he's Arnold Schwarzenegger. If you like that type, I don't, but some people do. That's fine. And then Ronnie Cox is like he's the super bad
Ronnie
guy.
Cox.
He's in the Ronnie Cox role. Like
he's Ronnie Cox. He's doing what is he doing? He's what am I thinking of? The best movie ever, 1987. RoboCop. He's doing his RoboCop character.
Yes, it's basically the same dude. And he's back on Mars where apparently they have this like they have a colony up there and it's in this big dome and he is charging people for air. That's the whole thing. So like if people want to live up there, they have to pay for his air, I guess. There's also something going on that's like, what do they call it? It's like tuberanium or something. I was like, whatever, this might as well be obtanium to me. I don't know what it is. It means nothing to me. Because again, like there's things in the story where I'm like, I don't understand what's happening.
Yeah, it's a little long. There's some sections where I'm kind of like, but I have to say, this is a good movie. It's very enjoyable.
Yeah.
But it's very much a product of its time.
For sure. It's very entertaining. It's very violent. I almost entertained the idea of showing this to my 11-year-old. And I was like, no, this is Paul Verhoeven. I don't think this is a good idea. I'm going to watch it on my own.
I think the little person with the knife would have terrified him.
But there's so many scenes, by the way, of Arnold Schwarzenegger getting kicked in the balls or punched in the balls.
I miss ball kicking in movies. That was a trope, and I miss that. That needs to happen more often again.
Let's bring that back.
That's all you gotta do. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, my kid would have thought that was hilarious. He thinks it's hilarious when people get kicked in the balls. Or even when I joke about kicking people in the balls, he thinks it's hilarious. So easy laugh from me and my boy. But I didn't show it to my kid. And good call because, again, super fucking violent. Like RoboCop violent. This is also innocent bystanders dying everywhere. Blood everywhere. Dude, they even like at one point they kill a rat. And I was like, how much blood was in that fucking rat? Like it explodes and it's like blood everywhere from this little rat. Anyway, that's a lot of blood.
That's a cool scene because Arnold has a tracker in his head. And so he has to take that out. Pull it out of his head. It's great. And then he shoves it into does he shove it into the rat or he gives the rat cheese or something?
I think the rat just takes it and runs off or something. Yeah.
But then, so there's a whole thing where he's going to Mars and he's using a passport and he's dressed as a very large woman.
Yes.
Like the person that would stand out absolutely positively the most in any crowd.
This is true.
That's how he goes.
Yeah, she doesn't blend.
Be anything. She doesn't blend. But she shows up and she's got her, like I said, paper passport.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 60 years from now. But okay. And she's going 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Like she starts tweaking, and then turns into Arnold. I'm sorry, I could do that all day. That and Morrissey, I could do Morrissey and Arnold.
It's a cool scene though, as the head like kind of opens up in these different.
Oh, it's great.
Different layers, and he like takes the head off, and
they could give her a name for Pete's sakes, because she's a big part of the plot. You know,
she's a memorable scene in that movie for sure.
Yeah, and they just call her Fat Lady.
I'm like, not credits. Cool.
Wow, y'all are tacky. But this is like 1990.
Yeah, but I love it. He takes the head off and then he like throws the head at someone and they catch it. And it's like, you're in for a big surprise. The head explodes. And I'm like,
I'll take that for $1. I'll buy that for $1.
Everything in this movie explodes for no reason. Like, including like he was wearing a bomb on his head that whole time. Like, it's so weird, but
and he has a turban that like blocks things.
He's wearing he's wearing like a towel around his head to block the tracking device.
So I'm like, it's a towel. Really? A baseball cap would probably do the same if it's that fragile.
I do love that scene though, because that's where he opens up this suitcase. that he has left for himself, and
right.
he watches a video of himself
I'm future Arnold.
Arnold and past Arnold, and they're both talking. I can't do a great impression like Margot, but they're talking. And Arnold Schwarzenegger I feel like he didn't get the props for like the good performance he's actually giving in this movie. Like, I think that Arnold at this time was very much like, I murder people and then I say a one-liner. That was kind of his shtick. You know, I actually think he's doing a good job in this movie because there's a big difference between the Arnold we see in the videos and the Arnold we're seeing outside of the videos. Like, I could tell them apart, and it's just the way he's carrying himself. I think he's doing a good job. Yeah, he has
a lot of charisma. He's a ton of charisma.
He does.
He always has. And that's what he has going for him. He's a movie star. I think what he lacks in critical acclaim, he more than makes up for with his bank account. So I'm not going to.
Yeah, he's crying himself.
Crying over that.
Crying himself to sleep on his gigantic fucking bed made of money. where he's living with his like mini donkeys. They're so cute. If you haven't watched the documentary about Arnold Schwarzenegger, they have some stuff with him and his farm he basically has with this like mini donkey that just follows him around like a dog. It's adorable. Everybody drink. But I also love the scene where he removes the tracking device because it's so painful. Like looking, he like shoves this thing way up his nose and it.
Which is bringing it back to COVID. Remember your first COVID
yes,
test?
And it's pulling this giant ball out of the small hole in your nose. And now you can all have just a small taste of what it's like to give birth. Thank you. But it's really well done. It's the whole time you watch it and you're like, ew! Like, Oh, the other thing about the disguise that he takes off before the head explodes is the soldiers are like so in awe of his disguise that they just stand there like, duh, for like a really, really long time. They don't shoot at him. They don't try to get him. He's just like, he has enough time to take the mask off and like expose, like unveil himself, and they're all, they're so dumb. And then he hops in a cab with this guy named Benny, his like cab driver, not a Johnny cab, a real cab, I guess. And they go to Venusville. Come on down to Venusville. Where it's populated by these like, it's like humans, but it's also like people who have been like mutated by the pollution or the air, the radiation, I guess. And it's like their red light district, I guess. Like
it's the dark. It's down on Skid Row, as they would say.
Down on Skid Row.
It's like
every time they referred to Venusville, I kept thinking of the Edna Cell skit. Come on down to Venusville. Do you remember that?
No.
Oh, it's Justin Timberlake and like somebody else, and they're in mascot costumes, and they're like, they would sing and compete trying to lure customers to their Blankville. And it always is like, you know, Tofuville or Burritoville or, yeah. Anyway. So he goes to something called the Last Resort Club where he's looking for Melina. And that's Rachel. Sorry.
Ticotin.
Thank you. I was scrolling back up to her name.
Ticotin or Ticotin. One or the other.
And that's where we meet the woman with 3 tits. Oh my God, she's in the movie. At one point, Benny's like, baby, you made me wish I had 3 hands. I'm like, oh brother.
God.
Poor woman. The whole time, I'm all, poor woman. I did think it was funny, like Melina walks up and she just grabs Arnold by the crotch and she's like, what have you been feeding this thing? And he says, blondes. Gross. Gross.
This would not be appropriate for your son.
No, Calvin would be like, what does she mean by that? I'm like, she means his dick, honey. I would not talk to my kid that way. That's terrible. then what happens? Oh, yes. Then one of these bad guys shows up again, and he's got Sharon Stone with him. And they try to convince him that it's all fake, that he's still back at the recall place. He needs to take the red pill. Little hints of Matrix to come, I guess. Take this red pill. You're dreaming all of this, and he doesn't really take the bait. And then Sharon Stone tries really hard to kick his ass, and she kicks him in the face too, right? And she's like, this is for making me come to Mars. She is so pissed.
Yeah, she trained hard.
She trained super hard, and it shows. And then, of course, Melina shows up, and Melina and Sharon Stone have a whole fight because chicks have to fight each other, man.
Yep.
And I think she knocks her out or something, and she's like, that was your wife? What a bitch. Is that when he kills her?
Well, yeah. She's like, you wouldn't kill me. I'm your wife.
Yeah.
And he says, consider this a divorce. He shoots her in the fucking head.
Oh, my God. He shoots everyone in the head. Everyone.
It's a coup de grace shot. I mean, it's coup de grace. It's it's just totally take people out. There's no try and aim for the nicking of the leg or something.
No.
It's not to slow people down. It's to stop them.
Yes.
That's his whole thing. Yes, he's a killing machine.
Consider this a divorce.
A divorce. Yeah, this is he's practicing his Mr. Freeze. My man.
So then Michael Ironside now, he shows up too and immediately kills the lady with 3 tits. And I'm sure every dude was like, no, in the theater, but I don't remember. And then a brawl, but it's Benny Hill music starts. It's dun, 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 and everybody, it's the bar in Roadhouse, actually. They just start fighting. Everybody starts fighting. There's the little woman who stabs someone in the dick. It's just, again, everybody gets kicked in the dick in this movie. And Ronnie Cox's character is no, let him go. Takes all the men and they leave. And then they turn off the air in Venusville. And he just leaves all those people to suffocate. And then what happens?
Arnold saves them.
No, well then Arnold is on his way to meet the rebel leader. This what's his name? Quato, right?
Sure.
The one who looks like Chuck.
The one who looks. Movie. I'll be honest with you. I got really lost in this movie sometimes.
So Quato is the rebel leader, and he looks like Chucky's uglier brother, and he's attached to his twin, basically. So there's a grown man walking around, and then under his shirt, he opens up his shirt, and there's a gross little rebel leader there.
Yes. Oh God, that was gross.
It's so gross, and he's open your mind to me. Open your mind. It's so, I'm a little, ew. And I remember thinking it was super gross when I saw it in the theater too. And then the bad guys show up again, and there's a whole thing where they killed the rebel leader, and it's revealed that Arnold Schwarzenegger's character volunteered to have his mind erased to be the mole to get in with this rebel leader so they could find him and kill him. So that Ronnie Cox's character can continue to charge people for air. It's some real Elon Musk shit,
Yeah, it's the way billionaires behave today if they could.
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
So, and then we get a video of past Arnold going, "You did it, buddy!" I knew you could do it. And present day Arnold's you're a fucking asshole. And now they're going to wipe current Arnold Schwarzenegger's memory again and give the Arnold that's a prick his memory back. And they decided they're going to erase Melina's memory too. And it's so, again, fucked up. We're going to have you fixed. Is how he puts it. You're going to be sweet and demure, and you're going to follow orders. And she spits in his face. And I'm yeah, girl. Yeah. And then there's this whole, like, when you get your memory back, come to the party. We're going to have a party later. We'll see you later. And of course they leave because that's like James Bond villain shit, right? It's like they don't watch it actually happen. They just assume that it's going to go off without a hitch. And they're like, okay, check you later. We'll see you at the party. Finger guns. And they assume that everything will go off without a hitch. And of course it does not. Arnold gets all Arnold and like, hulks out and like gets out of the machine, and he just fully again murders people. Like all these people, just murders all these people. And really after that it's like 30 minutes of chase.
Yeah, this movie's a little long. There's sometimes where I started losing interest because it is so repetitive.
Yeah.
It's just chase.
Yeah.
But I mean, still for the time.
Yeah.
It was released June 1st. It's a summer movie.
This is very much a summer movie. And
it's a Schwarzenegger movie.
Yeah.
It's very much of like the kind that he put out. He knew he was totally into action, and I love the documentary where he and Sylvester Stallone admit that they hated each other and were competitive over who got the better role. And apparently Arnold tricked Sly into doing Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. Such a dick.
Such a dick move.
But I love it.
Yeah.
Because he kind of said like, oh, I really want that part.
Yeah.
I want that part.
They were all, this is what they were doing in the 80s.
Daddy is my mom.
This is the kind of movies they were doing, though. They were doing like, Rambo, Commando, Running Man, Over the Top, Cobra, like all of those types of movies. And it's like getting bigger guns and murdering more people. And that was the thing. This one, I didn't even think of it as that kind of a movie because of, I felt like there's like some typical Verhoeven stuff where kind of like RoboCop 2. There's also this like dark humor, this thoughts about the wealthy, basically.
Right.
That RoboCop has. I think it's more obvious in RoboCop than it is in Total Recall, but it's in Total Recall too. You're going to get it in later movies. I mean, even Showgirls has it a little bit, What was the other? Well, he does Basic Starship Troopers. That's the other one I was going to mention. Mm-hmm. There's definitely some commentary in those movies. And this movie does have some really... The special effects at the end are actually pretty bananas. There's this whole thing about like it turns out the mutants at some point had built basically a power plant that can make air and make the air on Mars breathable. So they're like they set it off, but it doesn't work right away. So like Arnold Schwarzenegger and they're like suffocating basically. They're out in Mars and their eyes are like bulging out and they're like, it's really fucking gross. It's so gross. But it looks really good, I think, for its practical effects. It's pretty cool. Like they would do it now digital and maybe make it look even more realistic, and it would really gross me out. But I like that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. There's also a big fight with Schwarzenegger and Michael Ironside, and then he like holds onto him and the elevator like goes up and he hits the floor and it like basically chops off his arms. And Ironside like falls to his death, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger throws his arms at him, and he's like, "See you at the party, Rick." I thought for sure he was going to be like, "Let me give you a hand."
That would have been so good. I was like, expected that.
I was convinced that was the line. I was like, "Oh my God, is that what's going to happen?" No, then it's "See you at the party," and I was like, "That works for me too," because I'm a child. Yeah, and then there's the whole thing like, is this really a dream? And she's like, well, you better kiss me before you wake up. And they kiss, and it's the end. And then I was reading online that people were like, well, was it a dream? And I was like, I never thought it was a dream.
No.
Did you think the end was not?
I found it I mean, I think it's a muddled mess in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I think, but I don't think. No, I don't think this movie is that serious.
I don't think this is like an Inception thing here, right? With like the
No.
spinning top, and we're like, like I assumed that it was not a dream, that this all really happened.
Yeah, I mean,
Apparently,
this
it's
is not
up for
Memento.
debate. Yeah, it's not Memento.
It's pretty. You know, it's just a shoot 'em up chase movie
Yes.
with some sci-fi, and it's got Arnold,
Yeah.
and it's got a lady whose head explodes, and she goes, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
It's got some great scenes.
It does have some great scenes, and it's got pre-Basic Instinct Sharon Stone. She would work with Paul Verhoeven, like 2 years later for Basic Instinct, which we will totally do at some point because I have thoughts and feelings about Basic Instinct.
I had thoughts and feelings when I was in the movie theater watching it. I was like, oh, boy, yeah.
There were this movie apparently had been floating around for a while, and a bunch of folks were attached to it at one point, including Patrick Swayze, which, sure, could have been.
He danced, though. He'd like leap in the air and spin and jeté his way around, which I would be okay with.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Actually, go ahead and take his character from Roadhouse and just put him right in here. That's fine. And get Sam Elliott back.
Yeah, big Sam Elliott back.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Go for a mustache ride on Mars.
There we go.
I'm into it. Some other people, Richard Dreyfuss. I'm like, no. That's a no. William Hurt. But
no,
it wouldn't,
too serious.
He's too serious. It wouldn't have been an action movie at that point. And then a couple other ones, Christopher Reeve. And I'm like,
R.I.P.
I know. I'm like, I like Christopher Reeve. I bet he would have been really good in this. And then Jeff Bridges.
Oh, yeah, he would have worked because he did that Tron.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm fine with that. I have one more question for you. What do you think is your favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie?
I like Kindergarten Cop. And I also I do really like Kindergarten Cop. I also love T2.
Yeah.
I love that movie. And
yeah,
I don't know. I kind of like him pretty much in anything.
He's always entertaining.
He's very entertaining. He's very likable.
Yeah.
There's something. Would I want to be on a movie set with him? No.
No, because he won't keep his hands to himself.
But, no, he's handsy and gross. But but he's great. I mean, like I said, it would be I like 90s Schwarzenegger. I like T2 and Kindergarten Cop and not Junior.
Junior doesn't do it for me.
Twins is actually pretty funny, I think.
Yeah, I think that's on our list. I think someone requested it.
That's a cute movie.
It's cute. Kindergarten Cop actually came out the same year as Total Recall, and Kindergarten Cop also made a shit ton of money.
Yeah, it was. That was very popular.
It's not a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
Well, I was going to list out some other Schwarzenegger movies for us. So, do you have anything else about Total Recall?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I'm done.
Okay. Conan the Barbarian. That was 82. So this would have been like post Pumping Iron. 84 was The Terminator.
Great movie.
Which is great. Commando.
Good movie.
That's 1985. Predator.
Good movie.
I like Predator very much. That's 87. Also in 87, The Running Man, which I keep bringing up, and someday we're actually going to do because I want to talk about The Running Man.
Yeah, it's based on I think it's a Stephen King story.
I think
short story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's doing a thing, and I want to talk about it at some point. We already talked about Twins and Kindergarten Cop, and then we have True Lies.
Yeah, that's a huge one.
That one is entertaining, but I wonder if I would like it as much now as I did at the time.
I feel like, and I think you and I love Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
I don't think they use her that well, which I know it's an anathema to people because they're like, no, that's her best performance or blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I think there's a couple of scenes where I'm like, they're just exploiting her, I think.
Yes, I know exactly what scene you're talking about. So the same year as True Lies, that's 94, we also get Junior, which I don't think that one was a big hit. Nobody wanted to see Arnold pregnant, apparently.
It's just pushing that concept just a bit too much.
It was a very strange movie.
Yeah.
And then the last one on the list is Eraser from 96.
I don't think I've ever even seen that.
I saw that one, and it's Vanessa Williams and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I remember seeing it with some friends, and I was the only one who liked it. They were like, why? And I was like, I don't know why. I just do. I like Eraser. I don't know why. But I haven't rewatched it since the theater, so maybe now I'd be like, that's trash. But at the time, I quite liked it.
Do you want to hear about the top 10 hits? I'm going to say top 11 because the 11 song is really good.
Okay, I can't wait.
All right, it came out. This is June 2nd, 1990. This is U.S. pop hits. Number 11, Digital Underground, The Humpty Dance.
I fucking love Digital Underground.
Digital Underground was amazing, y'all. That was good shit. I had to look this song up because I didn't know it. Perfect Gentleman, Ooh La La.
I don't know that song. How do I not know that song? I
don't know, but it's not good.
Okay.
Number 9, MC Hammer, You Can't Touch This.
Yeah. That song was everywhere.
That was a jam. It's still a jam. This other one I didn't know either. Number 8, Linear, Sending All My Love.
Nope.
Nope. Oh, this is the best song ever. Number 7, Sinead O'Connor, Nothing Compares to You.
Yes. So good.
That song delivers every time.
It's still amazing.
If she never did anything else, if all she ever did was that, I'd be totally cool with her. Like when people judge her, I'm getting really upset. Number 6, Roxette, It Must Have Been Love.
You couldn't get away from the Pretty Woman soundtrack at the time.
Escape the Pretty Woman soundtrack that was everywhere. Number 5, Belle Biv DeVoe, Poison.
Yeah. Okay. Dope. The whole album. Dope.
I love Belle Biv DeVoe. Okay. Number 4, Janet Jackson, All Right.
I'm all in for Janet.
Is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. Number 3, I bet you love this song. Wilson Phillips, Hold On.
I do.
I knew it. I know, Sonia.
I'm like so in the bag for like easy listening pop type stuff. Yeah, of course I am. Yes.
Then you also love, maybe you don't, I don't know. This is Heart. All I Want to Do Is Make Love to You.
I wouldn't say I like that song, but when I hear the song, I actually laugh out loud because it's a very
about a woman who's
yes
ridiculous song. She's picking up a guy just to fuck him so she can have a kid.
Yeah. Yes, that's it.
And she's gonna pull one over on her husband. Like, I hope this guy looks like him.
Yeah, maybe he does.
That could be a problem.
So many questions when I listened to this song. I'm like, does he look like your husband? Is that why you picked him? Does the husband know that he can't give you a baby? Won't he wonder how you got pregnant all of a sudden? So many questions from that song.
You're not going to use protection when you're having sex with a stranger?
In the height of AIDS?
Right. Like, it was a lot of like finger wagging on my part. I'm like, no, I don't know about this. Okay, number 1 song.
I'm just saying the song needs a sequel so that I can figure out what happens.
20 years later, well, the kid was a brat. My husband left me. Tried to sue that guy. Couldn't find him. He was a psycho, it turns out.
Oops.
Okay, number 1 song, Madonna, Vogue.
Yeah.
Could not escape that song.
No, you could not. And I still like that song.
And the voguing that happened everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I like Madonna songs.
Good list.
So. Good list. My friend, what else are you dorking out about?
I wanted to talk about, it's going to date the show, but who cares? Threads, because that's now a thing on social media. Yeah. It's a huge hit. It just launched this week.
Yes.
Sonia figured out how to put all of our shows on it. So kudos.
Hey, thanks.
To you.
Sometimes, I get tired of watching Roblox videos with my kid. So I do other shit like figure out Threads.
Wait, Roblox?
Roblox. It's like some video game that my kid likes to watch on TV.
Oh, I thought you meant like Roadblocks. Like
no.
Just actual Roadblocks.
No. Sorry. It's a video game. So we both personally, you and me, got on Threads easy because it was like you have Instagram, you want to be on Threads, it moves your shit over. It's pretty easy. But then adding creep and dorking out actually involved like logging out and logging blah blah blah. Anyway, we're on all the things now. So,
which is great. I mean, so far I like it. I'm not. I mean, I like the format of Twitter a bit more.
Yeah,
because you can make lists.
Yeah,
and you could just see the people you want to see. But you still have these, like, you can mute people, you can block people, so you can kind of keep it to the things. It's so funny, and I've. My Instagram life when I started to my Twitter life now are two different animals. So I'm getting a lot of like old like running stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, like I used to follow runners. This is not me at all anymore.
When I was when it was asking me if I wanted to turn Threads on, it asked me if I wanted to move over everyone I follow from Instagram, and I was like, no. Because my Instagram life is very different than my Twitter life, I get. Or the reason I go to Instagram is different than the reason I go to Twitter. Like when I go to Twitter, I follow a lot of movie people. I get a lot of news, things like that. Whereas Instagram is more, my friends' pictures and aspirational stuff and shit I want to buy and things like that. And what happens between me and Twitter, it's just that's between me and God. Okay, it's like totally different than what happens with me and Instagram, where my mom will see my pictures but she doesn't read my Twitter. So
it's a bit of a I did transfer over right away. Like I didn't even think twice about, is this good? Is this going to be like, is it going to be some, break in my security and I don't care. I just take the leap. And I'm getting all day long. It's like, this person accepted your request. This person, I'm like really excited. And I'm like, who dat?
new social media. Who dis?
Who dis? And I'm like, oh my God, like there's people that are just like, okay, I didn't feel like doing it, but I ran my 6 miles today. I'm like, oh my God, you're still posting that like 10 years later.
Sounds
like,
tiring.
Oh my God. Very tiresome, but there's a lot of great people.
Yeah.
We're on there.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. And I think it's amazing that Elon Musk and I have no love for Musk.
No, fuck him.
Or Zuckerberg.
Correct.
Or
fuck that
most
guy
of the
too.
billionaires. Fuck them.
Yes.
But I think it's kind of hilarious. Like they're really mad at each other.
Yes.
And Musk is trying to sue because he's saying they're using their own, what do they call it? It's their own formula, let's say, like their own secret sauce that they use for Twitter. What's that called?
I want to say IP, but that's not the right thing. Like it's like their technology, basically.
Correct.
Because Musk fired a shit ton of people from Twitter, and he didn't pay them severance or anything. They're not loyal to him, nor should they be. And Zuckerberg probably hired those people.
He did, and I think like that's why he laid off a bunch of other people. I think it's to take on those people so they can make this go in the fast lane. Which, by the way, like I'm not a fan of laying off people. I've got lots of friends that got laid off, and it's a real fucked up situation. I'm not fans of either one of these men.
No, they're both creeps. They're
both creeps, but I can root for one a little bit more than the other. And in that case, I'm just like, yeah, make a Elon sweat a little.
Yeah.
Or a lot.
I want there to be alternatives to Twitter because Twitter was like, sorry, we're the only game in town, so you will put up with racists and transphobic content and misogyny and threats and harassment and
and I would block people or I'd mute them and they'd still come back into my timeline. I felt like I was like it was really it's not great. There's a lot of blue check assholes that are there. Not everyone's a blue check ass. Not all blue check people are assholes, but the people that are the biggest assholes I find tend to have the blue check and are very defensive about the fact that they spent money on it.
We deserve to have competitors. It forces them to fix bugs.
The bugs.
it forces them to make improvements and like keep up with each other, and it's a better way for people to like kind of again like vote with their time and money, I guess, of where they want to be and what they want to support. So, you know, Blue Sky at some point will finally open up publicly so people can. We have yet to get in. We're not cool enough, Margot and I, to get invitations. But
Jack, that guy,
he
started
sucks
Twitter,
too.
He sucks as well. So exactly, it's
they
like,
all suck.
They all suck. So who sucks the least?
Yes.
And I just don't want I don't want the anti-trans stuff. I don't want the ugliness of what hhappened with Twitter.
Yes.
I liked it. I had it right down to like just follow the people I like, but like I used it for news. I used it to find out what's.
Me too.
Because you know what's going on when you're checking Twitter out. You do know what people are talking about, or you did. So anyway, I just thought that was really funny. I'm also dorking out about on Netflix the Arnold Schwarzenegger documentary.
It's really well done.
It's really well done. I have my issues with a couple of, he's had some creepy bits in his past and he admits it, but I think they could have spent more time on getting into what he did, but okay. But he has had a fascinating journey.
Yes.
He's a really interesting person.
Yes.
And I like the fact that he includes his son, Joseph.
Yes.
And treats him well. I think, I understand why his family would have a problem with it, but I think he's doing the right thing when it comes to that. I want to say on Bravo, Project Runway had a great week. They had somebody.
That show.
I love the crap out of it. Well, it's all the all-stars, so it's really good people. But they had a competition, and one person was in the top 3, and their dress was horrifying, like completely terrible. But they took a risk. It was one of those cases where they just went for the person taking the risk. It's such a funny show because either they're like, the construction was bad or that's uneven. And then they're like, it could be all bad and uneven, but like, oh, but you took a risk. Or sometimes like, why did you take a risk? You should have fixed the construction. Because that's what it's like.
It's a matter.
Make your head explode.
There's no concrete rules to these things.
No, so there's not. So so anyway, that's on this week. But I found a clip on. I've actually gotten into Reddit again. That's been surprisingly like fun. But there's a clip of somebody who was interviewing Tim, who was the host, the expert.
Tim Gunn,
thank you. And he said that show was owned and produced by Miramax when it started. And he said the first person to win was Jay. I don't know if you remember Jay. Did you remember that first season?
Yeah.
I love that first season. Yeah. And when he won, he called Tim and said, I have an issue with my contract. Can you come over? Can we meet up? So he shows him the contract, and the contract stated Miramax would own 15% of his salary for the rest of his life.
What?
The rest of his working life. Not even just as a designer, not even just as someone who would start a brand. Like if he wound up working at a McDonald's, like they demanded 15% of his salary.
Holy shit.
So Tim said, don't sign it.
Yeah.
And I know this from people that have worked at Miramax or were offered to work at Miramax. They've told me in their contract, first of all, they were famous for not paying people. Like they make this big deal about, like, I bought the rights to this, and then they don't pay for them. But they would tell their employees before they could sign a contract that if you write a book, you come up with an idea, you have a screenplay, we get the first offer. And basically the only offer. You cannot go to anyone else.
Right.
So if you're working for them, you have a dream, they own you. So he said he demanded that they change that, and they told him that he did. And then he found out several years later when he was doing Project Runway Jr. that they were still doing that. And they're like, to the kids. And he lost his mind. And he said, he's like, I've never cursed on set. I would never curse for the children, but I was so upset. I had to make people get on the phone. He said they all lied to me. They told me they'd taken care of it. And like for 13 seasons,
Jesus.
It's like the greediness and the shittiness. It's like, how do people get ahead? You sign your life away seriously, for this one opportunity. It's like, anyway,
well,
that's
it's a I'm reading Burn It Down.
Yes.
By Maureen Ryan, and that's on my list, which is a book about, and it's Burn It Down, Power, Complicity, and the Call for Change in Hollywood. And it's about the kind of shit you're talking about, like how they mistreat, well, anybody that works for like television, for Broadway, for movies, all this sort of thing. And the power that they exercise over people who don't have the power, and make them, bully them into contracts like that, or NDAs, or have them working 24 hours a day. Well, if you don't like it, we'll get
someone else.
We'll get someone else. This was your one shot and you fucking blew it. It's fucking terrible.
It's horrifying. It's also just like, here is your, you win this thing. You're like, and designers, it takes, not a lot of them make money. Seriously, there's a lot of output.
Yeah.
There's a lot you have to create in order to succeed. A fashion brand.
Yeah.
And just to keep something afloat, where you can hire people and you try to keep people in America, hire people in America and try to keep this good business going. And you're dealing with fashion trends that can change at any time. And there's the shipping and there's everything else. And 15% of that for the rest of your career goes to these assholes.
Fuck that.
They treated everybody like shit. That's my point. And I'm glad you mentioned the Maureen Ryan book, because it's like one of my favorites that we've bought it, but doesn't it make you want to throw the book across the room sometimes? Like, you're just like, the cluelessness.
Yeah. I'm not even halfway through, and I can only read it one chapter at a time because I get angry.
Yeah, it makes you so mad. Yeah. Jeff Garland, did you read him?
No, I haven't gotten that far yet.
Oy. Ugh. All right. Kyle Richards is getting divorced from Maurizio. That's Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Yes.
It's hot gossip.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what am I dorking out about?
Oh, is she? Have they said who she's dating? Because
supposedly it's Morgan Wade, I think is her name, is a country singer.
A country singer, right? Okay.
Yeah, and that Kyle's been like following for a year, and Kyle but I didn't know this. The whole thing with the show is I always tell people, be honest, be yourself, be open. And it turns out she wasn't saying a lot of things when she was at the reunion last year, which is, but anyway, so I've been totally, the Reddit files on that have been amazing. And
that's why you're back on Reddit.
Oh yeah. Immediately went to Reddit. I'm like, they're going to have the tea.
I'm seeing stuff on Threads, because I'm also been spending time on Threads, and stuff where like she's being approached at like places like gas stations and stuff. She's like pumping gas, and they're like asking her if she's dating, and she's like, I am, but I'm not going to talk about Morgan. Bye. Like, oh boy.
And they call those people, like they have a deal
for sure.
Yeah. I also had a day, like it's been a total heat wave here. So some days it's just been unbearable to go out, and I don't have a car. So I'm like stuck. Anyway, wham. I was on Max. I watched a show called Perry Mason, which I've never watched before.
Oh, that's been on my list forever.
I watched the first season and it was so fucking good.
Okay.
It's really, really, really great. It's weird. It's bizarre. It's nothing like the TV show that my mom used to watch.
Right.
It's like Perry Mason's kind of a mess. He's young. He's a lawyer. He's got PTSD from World War I. And there's just amazing characters. John Lithgow's in there. There's some great people, and it's like Hollywood 1930s. It's really amazing. And I super enjoed it. And then there's a Rock Hudson documentary.
That's on my list too.
It's good. I mean, it's not earth-shattering, but I mean, I pretty much knew the story, but I think it's important to see, especially you youngsters out there, Gen Zers. Nobody's Gen Z, listen to it today. But if you are, and you're hearing all this anti-LGBTQ bullshit, the talking points are the exact same that they had in the 80s for homosexuals and AIDS.
Yes.
too far.
We did a
of a
whole
leap.
episode about Anita Bryant over on our
Yes.
other podcast, What a Creep. And if you listen to it, it sounds present day.
Yeah.
Like everything is, they just took it from the Anita Bryant playbook. It's pretty fucked up.
Yeah. And it's, but it's also, he was so handsome.
Very handsome.
Very handsome and very funny.
Yeah. I look forward to watching that. It's on my list. Did you watch the Wham documentary?
I forgot to mention that. Yes. And I really loved it.
I loved the Wham documentary. I grew up listening to Wham and watching their music videos. My sister loved Wham. Like, I liked Wham fine. She loved Wham. She had like the posters up on the wall and stuff. And there was a lot in this I didn't know about them. I didn't know that like Andrew Ridgeley was like such a player.
Straight.
Well, first of all, I didn't know he was straight. I also didn't know he was like such a player, that he was in like
He's
all the
handsome.
He's very handsome. I didn't know he
Yeah.
was in all the British tabloids as like Randy Andy and all that stuff. I would have had no idea. Again, this is all pre-internet. I would have had no way of knowing those things. I didn't know that George Michael was like not out.
I remember this
Because
so it's 80s.
Yeah, I don't want it to come out wrong, but I thought he was gay. I always thought he was gay. And I remember my sister like had a crush on George Michael, and I was like, he's gay. Like, I didn't know that he wasn't out until years later I heard it. And then watching this again.
Late to the 90s, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he had religious parents that he was afraid of.
Yeah.
It's sad to say, disappointing. So he had to kind of hide. He had to hide that side of himself, which contributes to a lot of the drinking and stuff he did later. I didn't realize they were so young when they started. They were 18.
They were babies.
Babies.
But I was so impressed with the documentary though, because it really tells the story of their friendship and how they still remain friends even as like they changed, and Andrew Ridgeley like realized like my friend is outgrowing me. He's surpassing me.
Yeah, he was such an amazing songwriter. And I wish you and I were talking, I think it was off the air, we talked about it, but I hope somebody is inspired enough. So part of it is like Ridgeley's mother had all these scrapbooks.
Yes.
So they have all this content that they could dive through to really give you the full story. So I was hoping something needs to happen like this for George Michael, because that Faith record was everything when that came out.
That album had a million hits on it.
It really did.
Like every song was a fucking banger. Like, isn't that what the kids say now? Bangers? I don't know.
Bangers and bops.
Every song was a bop on Faith. And so when the documentary is over, because again, it's just about Wham.
Yes.
I'm like, is there another episode or something? Because I want to hear the rest of it. But the Wham documentary is so well done. I forget, again, how young they were. I forget what a short time period Wham existed in too. Like, you know, they had songs in like 82 and then they were like ending by 85 or something.
For us, yeah. I think in the UK it was a little longer.
Right.
But I remember I had a pen friend, a pen pal, who was in England, and we wrote for like 5 or 6 years, and she would tell me like Adamant and then Duran Duran. I knew this shit like a year before everybody else. Everyone thought I was really cool when it came to music. It's just because of my friend Angela.
You are cool.
Nah, well, but she would tell me like, wait till you have Wham come over because you're going to freak out. So I'm waiting for Wham, and they show up at this video, and I'm a kid in Jersey at the time. I'm like, this will play on the coast, but this is not going to play for middle America, because these guys are really just like, hello. It's like,
again, we were both of us were like, they're both gay, right? Like,
right. They're a couple, which is fine. It's great. But
that's, it is really, really well done. And there's something Andrew Ridgeley says about like where he's first of all, he's talking about how George Michael is just like surpassing him, like his songwriting's growing, like his voice is getting, like his singing is getting more and more amazing, and he doesn't want to hold his friend back. And I was like, oh my God, it's so sweet. And he also said like Wham was like a young person's band. And
that was their whole thing.
Yeah. And he's like, we couldn't be in Wham forever because that's not what Wham is. Wham is for young people. And he's like, we're getting, which is bananas again, because they're like 23 or 24 and they're like, we're too old to be in Wham. But
right, Wham's got to end. So they did like Live Aid, and like they did these huge shows.
Yes.
And then they were just done. And then George Michael came out a couple of years later and he had Faith. And it was like, I'm sure it originally was like, holy shit, this guy's like next level.
Yeah.
But they stayed good friends.
Yes. Yes. What's your favorite?
Nice.
What's your favorite Wham song?
I like Last Christmas.
I love Last Christmas.
I love Last Christmas. I know that's a divider, not a uniter, but
everybody makes fun of me for this at work because we make like a Christmas playlist, when we're all like working on stuff together. And I always pick Last Christmas and everyone's always, ew. And I'm like, what do you mean, ew? It's the best Christmas song.
I mean, I like all the Wham stuff. I'm more into the George Michael stuff than Wham. But the Wham rap was hilarious to watch.
My sister, again, she had all of these, the like Wham rap, Bad Boys, Club Tropicana. Like she was into all of it. I loved like I'm Your Man and Edge of Heaven, like the last like couple of singles they dropped. But Wham they were so fun.
It was just good music. It was good times. It was the 80s. We didn't know how horrible the world was really behaving. We were just kids.
Yeah.
But it was also like there's certain videos that make straight males go fucking insane, and George Michael's Wham was all of them. Like they really had such a it was like when Billy Squier did that video for Rock Me Tonight.
Yes.
And he was like stripping and doing the waving his arms around.
Yes.
Like there's certain videos that happen that make the guys go, rah,
yeah.
I don't like it.
2 weeks. I wasn't as cool as you. Like I didn't have the pen pal to like give me the heads up. So I was introduced to Wham through my sister. I don't know how she got Wham. And then Wake Me Up Before You Go showed up on MTV, and then it was just all over by then. Like Wham was huge.
And Duran Duran I was into like first. I was able to say like, I love all that shit. I really miss that time.
I love 80s music.
I really do too.
Love 80s music. I still listen to 80s music all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And yacht rock. I listen to that yacht rock station on Sirius XM.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking love the yacht rock station. I'm old.
Is Michael McDonald on there a lot?
All the time. He guests on other people's songs. I was like, oh my God, is he on this song too? Like
he has, there's somebody, I don't know if it was Twitter or Instagram, but there was this dad who has like a 9 or 10-year-old daughter.
I saw this.
Did you saw that?
Yes.
So he said he surprised her with Doobie Brothers tickets, but he said it's the Michael McDonald concert, and she's like the biggest Michael McDonald fan. So she goes to the show, and she's easily the youngest person by like 20 years.
Easily.
And she loves it. She's so happy. And then at the end, she got to meet Michael McDonald. He signed her poster, and he's just like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" And she's like, "Oh my God." So cute.
That man is raising her right. Like,
yes.
That first of all, that she even knows who Michael McDonald is, that she loves him enough to like be excited about a show. And he films like all these videos of her. She knows every word to like every song. Like it's not a bit that they're doing. She really loves Michael McDonald. And I'm like, that's a good dad.
That's great dadding right there.
Yeah. I saw a lot of dads with their sons at the Lizzo show. I was very surprised to see that. And I was like, good dadding going on right here.
And by the way, Lizzo's fucking great. If you can't have a good time at that, something's wrong with you.
Seriously. She's so positive, and her music is so it's just fun, and like you could dance. It was so fun. It was such a good show. I mean, she's no Michael McDonald, but oh, sweet freedom.
Shine on me. I got to see the Doobie Brothers when I was her age. I just realized I was like 9 or 10.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I got to see Rick Springfield when I was a kid.
Oh.
My sister and I were in love with Rick Springfield.
I'm still in love with Rick Springfield.
He's
like, still hot.
I would go see Rick Springfield now.
Yeah.
I was all in on Rick back in the day. I'm still into Rick.
I'm still into Rick. I saw him before I moved to New York, and I still have my ticket in my office of a signed ticket from him.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. My friend, tell people where they can find you on the internet.
Right now on Twitter, I'm at Brooklyn Margot. For Instagram and my site and Threads, it's Brooklyn Fit Chick. Please don't tell me about your running routine. I don't care. That's an old me. That was the old me. You know, you make a choice in 2009 and then all of a sudden you're living with the consequences. My site, and also on TikTok, I'm at Margot Donahue, and I do post clips there for the movies that I'm watching.
And if you like the sound of our voices, we also co-host a podcast called What a Creep, where we talk about creeps of the past and the present. Right now, we have re-released our episode from last year, a couple seasons ago, about Clarence Thomas. What a fucking creep. So we did an update on the Supreme Court stuff and talked about Clarence Thomas. So go take a listen to that. If you like dorking out and you want some stickers, you can email us at dorkingoutshow@gmail.com. And you can find Dorking Out Show on Twitter for as long as that's a thing at Dorking Out Show, and Threads. We're also on Threads now, and Instagram, Dorking Out Show. And you can find me at The Sonia Show on all the things. thesoniashow.com, The Sonia Show on the TikTok, on Threads, wherever you want to be. I'm like Visa, wherever you want to be.
Yeah.
You can find The Sonia Show. Apparently that hasn't changed in the last 10 years. So this was fun. I'm really, really glad that we talked about a big summer movie. We got to talk about Arnold, talking about Total Recall. Thanks, friend.
Bye.